I'm Lynn.
I'm Amanda.
And this is the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast. We're cutting through the fluff and cracking open what it really takes to build a business and life that you actually want.
No gurus, no gatekeeping, just real talk, big action, and the badass energy you need to scale and slay.
Some episodes, it's just us.
And sometimes we bring on powerful guests with stories that'll hit home.
Either way, this is not about playing small.
It's about going all in.
Let's get after it. Hey there, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast. Today we are talking money, specifically the $100 million mindset. What does that mean? What does it look like? And how can you get on this bandwagon?
I don't know why, but this made me think of Grant Cardone, the 10X. And I know we talked about that in a podcast or two. And yeah, it's, we talk a lot about CEO mindset. It is part of our marketing, part of our message. And it's definitely what we help people do, like in our badasserie programs and different things like that. Even if we go back to the E-Myth kind of version of like, depending on your mindset, regardless of what hat you wear in your business, will give you a ceiling and a capacity, if you would, in what you can accomplish because your mindset is such, right? So when you can switch your mindset to be really in a $100 million mindset, it gives you a higher capacity. Now that might feel really scary to you right now to think of 100 million, everybody wants it. Not everybody, actually. I know people who wouldn't want that. But with that being said, like, what is your $100 million mindset? So you have stretching yourself to be able to expand that mindset, to be able to think bigger is what this really is about. But we're going to talk about the $100 million mindset. Okay. So going back to the $100 million mindset, besides the 10X rule, I think of like $100 million mindset isn't thinking about the little shit, isn't thinking about all the tasks that they have to do. They are looking at the results. They are looking at the bigger picture. They're solving problems, big problems, typically before they happen. They're thinking like they're really proactive and looking at that big potential and possibilities. And what are all the different ways that we can get there? And what's the smartest way to do that right now? They're hiring people to help. They understand like the value of money differently. I feel like I can go on and on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's funny. The first thing you talk about is how scary it can be to have this $100 million mindset. And my challenge for that is like, that's where you should feel. Like you should feel scared by how amazing your goals are. You should feel a little bit like, I don't know if I can get there. I don't know if I can even do that. If you don't have a little bit of apprehension, then I'm not sure you're pushing yourself enough. But when it comes to the $1 million, the $1 million mindset, the $100 million mindset, when you're thinking on a larger scale, you're not thinking of simple addition. Like you're thinking multiplication. And that's why they talk about, we talk about the 10X, like it's 10 times, it's multiplication. It's not addition, because instead of it being, how can I make $10,000 this month? It's how can I build a system that builds $10,000 every month forever, and I don't have to be there for it. Like that's the shift. So it's, even though it might even be the same amount of money, like maybe you both want to make $100,000 this month. One person's thinking that's all they want to make. The other person has shifted their mindset to say like this, how can I build a system that's going to do that forever without me being there? So it's being obsessive about your hires and making sure you're hiring the right people, smarter people, better people than you.
Yes.
Being obsessed with your ROI, like really thinking about every dollar, every hour, every resource that you have is an investment. And if it doesn't produce measurable return, then it's going to get cut one way or another. Maybe it's, delegated to the trash, but there has to be strategic leverage there. There has to be financial leverage. And I think that's one of the major parts. Like you're building assets, not just income. Like you're building system, you're building the future. You're not building just one thing at a time and throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah. 3 words I took out is like you're solving problems even before they happen. So you're not firefighting, you're preventative solving, you're building things at scale. So you're looking at scalability, reverse engineering, and from a $100 million mindset, not from this year. And the automation of things. that's the SOPs, that's the tech, that's all of the different things that you can automate, which then leads you into the people with $100 million mindset. Because you talked a lot about hire and, even when you don't need them, is if you are building currently a company or business that can't work without you, let alone grow without you, then you have a job, you have a definite ceiling that you're going to hit in the near future. So the people with that $100 million mindset, a lot of times the employees don't even know who they are in some aspects, because they are there to bring on the right team. And I love that you said, bring people that are smarter than you. If you're an asshole or you're not taking care of them, then yes, they might steal your trade secrets and like do a takeover or whatever. It doesn't happen that often, but if you can see it for what it's worth and like look at it and say, okay, I'm going to bring on the right people. I'm going to treat them great. We're going to be collaborative. We're going to build this together. It's still my company, but we're in this together, and you take care of them. Even if they do leave, if you treated them with respect, if they were a good person, if you treat with them respect and all these other things, then when they leave, they're not going to shit on you. I mean, so they're not going to steal all of your trade secrets and stuff. It doesn't mean that they might not like have some of the stuff. I mean, unless they're a horrible person. I'm thinking of one situation in particular, like that particular person, I can't name names. He's a horrible person. So he's going to obviously take it and do things up on him. So with that being said, people with $100 million mindset are building businesses. When I just got chicken skin, that people sometimes they don't even know it. Damn, I need to make some changes doing this podcast. I'm having all these like little downloads, like, dang.
For sure. But I think both of us, whenever we get on a podcast, like it's like the information just starts downloading, like, oh, that's right, we need to do the things that we say. But I think when it comes to the $100 million mindset, it's not quick wins. This isn't instantly building that. You're building a company or companies that are long haul, 10, 20 years out. I think, even when we started Badasserie, neither of us thought it was going to be like a one and done thing. We were both thinking, how does this scale? What is this going to look like 10 years down the road? What is this going to look like without us in it? Even though, we're obviously the face in different ways. I think that you have to have that bigger, broader vision. This is not going to be quick wins. This isn't going to be like, how can I make a quick buck? It's how can I optimize? How can I use my investments wisely? How can I use other people's money? How can I shift the way I grow? How can I solve a bigger problem? How can I get a bigger piece of whatever crowd I'm in? So like, instead of worrying about competition, like dominate, like don't compete, dominate. Think about being like, well, how can you get your part where your name becomes synonymous with that thing? I think bigger systems, scaling, all those things, that's all part of, and I think even an exit strategy is part of the game. Building companies with the valuation in mind, thinking about, even if you never sell them, what would that look like? Having clean books, having recurring revenue. We talked about that in a previous episode, talking about your SOPs, talking about your brand positioning. Those are all things that make a business more sellable and more profitable, even if you don't ever choose to sell it, but you still have that exit plan in mind, because that's what's going to scale your business.
Yeah. And $100 million mindset also, like they're building a business and they're expanding their boundaries. And also they're doing things and rolling up their sleeves, because a lot of these people, like they get down and dirty with it. But they're always working themselves out of it. And so things aren't too good for them. I mean, maybe some people who have a lot of money, but I'm talking about, Amanda and I, we've said it a cajillion times, we're bootstrappers. So we come from that kind of mindset, like the grittiness. A lot of people with $100 million mindset, like, yeah, they'll hire people, but they're also like not afraid to roll up their sleeves and like get dirty with it. But if your boundaries are around $100 mindset or $100,000 mindset, then 100 million is going to stretch you. So you need to up level your boundary mindset as well. And like the things that you would do. I also think like $100 million mindset people aren't sweating the small stuff. They realize like it's part of the bigger process. And so getting the panties in a bunch for all the little things is ridiculous, because they're looking at always a bigger picture. when I keep envisioning like the ease of a person, they're serious, but there's an ease of a person because they're not sweating the small stuff. They're not getting into the chaos or the weeds, as we like to say. It's more about simplicity and scalability and duplication, right? So that compounding effect and like stepping out, like not afraid to try new things and fail and understand that failure is a part of the process. And then adding in the CEO mindset, that CEO energy and like running it, right? So making sure that we have that CEO mindset in it as well. I think there are two different mindsets, but they marry well together.
Well, I think you can't have one without the other. I mean, I guess you can have the CEO mindset and not have the $100 million mindset, but you can have the $100 million mindset without having the CEO mindset.
I agree.
It's kind of the square versus the rectangle. It really is a long game. This is building companies that matter, leveraging your debt and capital, hiring smarter, being obsessed with your ROI, building assets, and really thinking on the multiplication side of things. Like you are multiplying your income, compounding the interest, thinking big. And I know this is a hard topic for a lot of people who didn't grow up with a money mindset or who don't have the money mindset. And I didn't necessarily grow up in a family that was money mindset oriented because of all the children my parents had 4 kids, and I'm the youngest, and I'm the only one who's really obsessed and has a money mindset, for better or for worse. My siblings all do well, but it's on the forefront of my mind all the time. I'm always thinking about it. So I don't think it's necessarily about how you were raised. I think that can certainly contribute to it. You have the books like the Rich Dad, Poor Dad kind of thing. But ultimately, it's not really about where you started. It's about where your mind goes to, like how you can build those things. And we've seen a million underdog stories of the nobody becoming a millionaire or whatever. That millionaire and $100 million mindset is not systemic, really. It's not how you were raised. You can have people who were raised in very affluent households who don't have a money mindset at all and don't even understand the value of the dollar. So try not to have it from that perspective. And if you're in that perspective, then you're definitely not in the $100 million mindset yet. But even in your current microcosm, even where you are right now in your world, how can you make a shift to seeing the bigger picture, to seeing the longer term effects of your business, to seeing the bigger problems that you're solving, to see the larger long-term side of things? Because that little step in and of itself will help you shift from just being in CEO mindset into that $100 million mindset. It doesn't have to be a huge shift overnight, even though that number might seem huge to a lot of people. It's not that big of a mindset shift if you start small. So where can you start small to see big changes?
Well, tier it. I mean, if you've never made $1 million in a year, then start there. And then you kind of like, you don't go 1 to 2 million, you go 1 to maybe 10, and then 10 to 50 or whatever, or you jump straight to 100. But absolutely, I think there's some great nuggets here. A few other actions I think that can help start to shift you into it is start to host, like, when was the last time you did a SWOT analysis, SWOT, on your business and actually looked at, if you were to 10x today, what are 3 problems problems or threats that can get in your way, and can you solve them now? Because a lot of times we get stuck in like the status quo or the good enough, and we don't stretch ourselves. So doing a SWOT analysis, an oldie tool that we love, could help kind of like do a brainstorming session around what some bigger problems that you could solve now that maybe are micro problems that would help you with that 10x impact. Also, creating the structure or like a dashboard in the background, like a shadow dashboard of some sort, to be able to, what are all the things that you do as CEO? What are all the things that you do as a business owner? And how can you start? First of all, you need to really start delegating. A person with $100 million mindset isn't doing all of the things. They can do a lot of the things, but they don't. If you had to hand over your business tomorrow, like what that would look like. And that's super important. We're going to say this on tons of podcasts until we're blue in the face. If your business can't run without you, you have a job, you don't have a business, think about that. So those are just some action things that you can do to start to like shift yourself into, even if it's the $1 million mindset, like doing those couple of things are absolutely going to start shifting your business into a direction just by going through those steps.
Think of it as not how can I make more money, but how can I build something that makes money without me?
Generating.
Not how can I make money, but how can I build something that's going to make money without me? Those are two very different places to be and two very different things to think about. So that's where I want you to put your $100 million mindset as a start. Like, it's about leverage, it's about scalability, it's about ownership. It's not about creating a job for yourself. So it's how can I make more money versus how can I create, something that's going to make money without me? Build a business that's going to make money without me.
Yep. Back to solve, scale, and automate. All right. So we want to know where's your mindset? If you did a check-in, like are you a $5? I got 5 on it. Or are you $1 million mindset? Are you a $10 million mindset? I didn't use this phrase, but I remember going through this when I had the security company, and like because we up level at different increments, and different increments, there's like an energetic kind of cap that you have to work on. So where are you at in that? If you actually did an audit of like where your mindset really, where you still feel sticky, but you know that you're not sabotaging yourself to not make it, right? Because there is that marker, and then you push yourself to another limit. It's kind of like when you work out, like, especially if you've never worked out, if you're super like not healthy, you're like 5 pounds looks really heavy. I think I can only do 10. But then when you're in it and you're doing it for a month, you're like, this is super easy. Like, I can go up to blah, 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 right? So you can increase that as you're in it. So you start off small. So where are you at with your mindset, and how are you increasing that? Or have you even thought about increasing that?
Where is your mindset? Because mindset will make or break your business every single time.
Absolutely. So go ahead and share this with somebody that you know. Go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, all the shiny buttons, as Amanda says. So that way you're in the know of our next podcast. And let us know in the comments what you took out of this one.
All right. Until next time.
Get after it. Thanks for tuning in. But remember, listening is not doing.
Take what you heard today and move.
Share the episode, leave us a review, and tag us when you take action.
Head over to the pursuitofbadasserie.com and see how we're helping entrepreneurs get results without the fluff.
Until next time,
let's get after it.